Welcome to Quicksand, the most important news in pharma and biotech this week. GlaxoSmithKline is buying Novartis out of their consumer healthcare joint venture for $13 billion, taking full control of products including Sensodyne toothpaste, Panadol headache tablets, Muscle Gel Voltaren, and Nicotinell patches. GSK's biggest move since Emma Walmsley became chief executive last year follows the British drug maker's decision last week to quit the race to buy Pfizer's consumer healthcare business, endangering an auction the U.S. company hoped would bring in as much as $20 billion. Consumer remedies sold over the counter have lower margins than prescription drugs, but they are typically well-known brands with customers. Although some pharmaceuticals groups have been keen to hold consumer care products, intense price competition online, mainly from Amazon, as well as cheaper store brand products, have led others to doubt their stable returns longer term. GSK that, as well as ending the Novartis venture, it would start a strategic review of Horlicks and other consumer nutrition products, sparking another potential industry shakeup. The review will include an assessment of its majority stake in India-listed GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Healthcare. GSK said the purchase would boost adjusted earnings and cash flows. Novartis said the money would be used by Novartis to expand its business organically, as well as for bolt-on acquisitions. Under the 2014 deal to pool their consumer assets, Novartis had the right to sell its 36.5% stake to Glaxo from this month. The transaction is set to complete in the second quarter, subject to necessary approvals. The FDA finalized guidance to help sponsors developing drugs to treat chronic obstructive pulmonary disease to use the St. George's Respiratory Questionnaire, or SGRQ, a patient-reported outcome measure assessment tool in clinical trials. The 8-page guidance, which was revised in draft form in May 2016, notes that sponsors can use the SGRQ as an assessment of efficacy in submissions to investigational new drug applications, and biologics license applications. Sponsors can obtain scores from the SGRQ either using a longer 50-item questionnaire or a 40-item version, though the shorter one does not have a defined recall period, while the longer one has different recall periods of 1 year, 3 months, or 4 weeks, FDA says. FDA says sponsors should only use the total score, which is made up of 3 components: frequency and severity of symptoms, effects of disease on common daily physical activities, and psychosocial effects of the disease. Responder analysis is FDA's preferred primary method for reporting results from questionnaire data. Per the guidance, a sponsor can present responder analyses as a responder rate for each arm and the difference in the responder rates, or the odds ratio. Other analyses may be appropriate, and the sponsor should discuss these with the review division. Following a public meeting last September to hear perspectives from patients, parents, and others with alopecia areata, an autoimmune disease that causes hair loss, the FDA published a report summarizing the input shared and what matters most to the patients. Overall, participants reported feelings of frustration at the lack of treatment options available for alopecia, said the report on the meeting in comments submitted to the public docket. Participants described most of the existing treatment options as being either ineffective or only temporarily effective. Participants emphasized the need for additional treatment options for their condition. In terms of the daily impact, patients most commonly mentioned the emotional toll of alopecia, in addition to the stigma and social isolation, often in the form of bullying and being misunderstood by classmates and coworkers, and difficulties in finding and maintaining personal and romantic relationships, as well as participating in physical activities. As far as treatments, the most commonly used type of prescription medication participants reported using was corticosteroids, though many participants said they were often ineffective and caused significant downsides. As for an ideal treatment, FDA notes a range of perspectives, though for many, simply stopping the additional loss of hair and maintaining what they currently have would not count as meaningful benefit to them. FDA also summarized the comments submitted to the public docket, which it said emphasized the psychological, physical, and economic impact of alopecia. 6 big contract research companies, alongside Viva Systems, are for the first time coming together to develop open technology standards aimed at transforming clinical trial operations, to speed up development. This new team, known as Align Clinical CRO, works as a new industry standards group that ultimately wants to make it easier for sponsors and CROs to work together during clinical trials, while making things cheaper, quicker, and more effective. Founding members including ICON, MedPace, PPD, PRA Health Sciences, Syneos Health, and UBC, with help from across the industry, hope to create open technical standards intended to improve trial execution and collaborations with biopharmas. The group's first goal will be an operational data exchange standard, which is designed to help share information between sponsors and CROs. This is expected to include the definition of a technical standard for data to be exchanged between a sponsor and a CRO relating to the operational execution of a trial, including key metrics and milestone information, the group said in a statement. Align Clinical CRO will post its operational data exchange standard for the public to see and comment on later this year. Feedback from this could also go into the new standard. As part of the European Medicines Agency alignment with inflation rate, the agency announced that general non-pharmacovigilance for applicants and marketing authorization holders are increasing by 1.7% on April 1st, 2018. All applications received by March 31st will be charged the current fee and reduction rates. Applications received after that date will be charged the adjusted fees, EMA said. For scientific advice and protocol assistance, the cutoff point will be the date of validation of the request for advice. For annual fees, the anniversary date of the decision granting the marketing authorization defines the applicable fees, and consequently, a new fee will be applicable at the time of any anniversary on or after April 1st, 2018. The basic fee for an application for which a full dossier needs to be presented will rise to €286,900, and for an application for which a dossier does not need to be presented, the fee will rise to €185,500. Thank you for listening to Quicksand, episode 24, April 2nd, 2018.